Well, all right. I guess they said we not giving her a couple of episodes. We about to take her out now. Well, bye bye, Berkey. Hey, what's up and hello? This is the Chris Nicole giving you my views on life, love, and the world of entertainment through my eyes. And this is my review on Power Book 3, Raising Kanan, Season 3, Episode 1, Home Sweet Home. All right, so we start off with Marvin actually, and we think he's being taken to the hospital. But we find out immediately that the bullet went straight through. So, in other words, he's going to be okay. All right. So, Marvin is alive. And so, at that point, he is using duct tape, child, to try to, I guess, tape up his wounds because he refuses to go to the doctor. And I'm just like, I mean, a guy of your caliber on the streets, like y'all don't have a hood doctor somewhere that you can go to that can kind of patch you up, maybe, just maybe. But moving on. So then we see that Rock and Lou, the police are on their asses. And so they're being questioned, all right? And so Lou is feeling it. His main girl, who he thought was going to be the Spanish Mary J. Blige, she is now unalived. And now he has nothing at this point, especially because he was already crying over the fact that his sister said that I own you, ninja, last season. So they're being questioned. The cops, I guess, believe it right now, what both of them said in regards to what happened. And we see that Rock and Lou blame Camacho for the situation. I don't know how long that's gonna last though, but we'll see. But right now, the main thing is they're blaming Camacho for all of the dirty stuff that he did. Therefore, there's a reason why there was a hit on them. So we see Marvin again, and he's taking money out of the bodega. At least I think it's the bodega. Y'all let me know if it's the bodega. I think it is. But here's my thing. If Juliana and the whole crew, the whole rock crew were beefing, why was that money still there? I mean, I don't know. Like, I feel like Juliana would have taken that money out, or they would have took it out immediately. I don't know what the time frame was in between the time that they found out that they had short them a deal. The guys that took the deal under Rock, they snatched the deal away from her. I don't know how long that time frame was, but the fact that he still had access to the bodega was kind of interesting. But let me know. I think that was the bodega. But moving on. So Kanan and Jukebox are at the hospital, and Howard walks in and sees Kanan and immediately walks out because Kanan is over both Howard and his mama. And so after the shootout, Unique, sexy ass, he ends up going home and he sees that his big brother Ronnie is home. And Ronnie is another Brother Muzone type of guy, okay? Shows no emotions. You don't know if he's going to hug you or shank you. But he already knows that Unique is up to no good. He asks him about, did he cut himself? And Unique's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, sleeve. And so Unique gives him this BS story, and Ronnie's like, you always like you BSing. Definitely, there's probably going to be a issue with the power dynamics between the two, because it seems like Ronnie was the head guy before he went to prison, and then Unique took over. So now it's going to be like, who's going to be the brother in control? And Unique is the younger brother. So we'll see, because they actually have a car scene where Ronnie's not feeling this whole get up now on what's being done in the streets. And Unique is trying to tell him like times have changed, dude. Like this was not 3 years ago. Like this business is constantly evolving. But he's not trying to hear it. So at the hospital, while Rock is still there and the police are all over the hospital at this point, Burke rushes in and tries to snitch on Howard while Howard is there in front of the captain and other cops. And so at this point, Howard's like, look, I don't know what you got against me, but it doesn't matter. The captain immediately tells her to come outside and he suspends Burke. All right, says, I need your badge, I need your hammer. And so I was like, okay, well, so it begins. Because technically she's suspended, so she's really not a cop right now. She's vulnerable. So I thought that's where they were going to go. They were going to make sure that she goes through a lot of drama and they were going to set her up. That's what I was thinking. Didn't happen that way, but that's what I was thinking. So Tony Danza's character, and I don't know what his name is on the actual show, but he's going off on Sally about the cops being everywhere as far as his sloppy work on what he attempted to do in Queens but didn't execute it correctly. So Tony Danza's character is like, you're done. Take your trash back to New Jersey. You're done. You got to get out of Queens. So at that point, I feel like something's going to happen to Sally. Something's gonna happen to Sally. Maybe Tony Danza's character is gonna do it. Therefore, Rock now has to take his place. But we'll see. So they drop Rock at home, at her new home. And for whatever reason, Marvin isn't limping. Marvin isn't really moving, like he literally just had a freaking hole in his stomach to his back. But he's pretty much standing up straight and looking like he's strong as ever. And so at this point, Rock is like, look, Juke, I'm sorry about your mom, because she talks to Jukebox about what happened. And Juke is feeling it. You can tell she definitely, as much as she was upset with her mother, she did not want it to end that way, of course. And so at that point, Rock claims she's done with the game. But Kanan goes verbal Scarface on her ass. And he's like, look, F you, I'm about to tell everything. You and my daddy. And Marvin is like, his daddy is unalive. What you talking about? So at this point, Rock is about to have an anxiety attack because she don't know what all Kanan is about to say in front of Marvin and Jukebox. But Kanan ends up leaving before he really spills the beans. But Marvin, being nosy as hell, is like, what is going on? Something you want to tell me about this? Like, what is he talking about? Because last time I checked, the father that you claim has been his father is gone. He's unalive. So Rock ends up telling Marvin that Detective Howard is Kanan's pappy, all right? Not the big time dealer on Southside since, I don't know how long he had his reign, but he ain't the pappy. Detective Howard is the pappy. So at this point, Burke, being suspended, goes to her father's house and he pretty much tells her what's going on with her case. She knows nothing about her case, but her father knows everything about the case. And he says, look, IAD has an investigation on you. And she's confused. She's like, how the hell do they have an investigation on me? And what do they have? And so the father is like, look, I'm going to go with you. You just trust me. Shut the hell up. We're going to be there, me, your union rep, and we're going to figure out what's going on. So I was like, oh, okay. So I'm thinking maybe they did plant something on her and set her up in some kind of way. But when we see that scene, when she's talking to IAD, we find out they're trying to get her on having an inappropriate, like, relationship or connection with minors. And so I'll say this. Typically, that is seen as good police work from what we have seen with minors or even adults. You do them a favor, they return the favor. that is considered good cop work. However, we are dealing with a woman in a male dominated industry in the early 90s. I don't know if the whole precinct knew that she was gay, but let's just assume that also. So she had two things against her. Again, this is the early 90s. And the third thing was she was a cop's kid. So the fact that she came in already having the legacy of cops behind her as far as her name is concerned and her being a woman, they didn't feel like she earned her way in. She was able to just get in because of her father's name. So they pretty much are effing with her. That was the main thing. They wanted the reason to F with her and they found anything to F with her. So Marvin actually receives a box that Kenya had for Juke, and he tells her that they're going to have a memorial at the church for Kenya, and if she wants to go, he will go with her, showing support to Juke. And Juke is so sad, and she's crying, and even though Marvin is not the most sentimental guy, he definitely embraces her, trying to let her know that it's going to be okay. And so Howard and Rock, Detective Howard and Raquel, they go to talk to Kanan. And Howard is like, look, the three-letter agency that starts with the F, they in Queens now and things are hot and we have to keep things tight. And Kane is like, well, that partner of yours, that woman cop of yours knows everything. And so Rock is like, why you trying to tell us to keep stuff tight? Your own partner about to blow us up. And so Howard gave that look and he was like, I'll handle it. And I was like, up, here we go. Here we go. He's about to handle it because his son can literally get into some mess if Burke starts running her mouth. So meanwhile, we see a scene of Burke getting dumped by her girlfriend. And so now she's lost her girl and she's lost her career. I would have loved to see more of a downward spiral because of that, but we don't get that. But moving on. So Lou, this whole entire episode is drunk and he's a mess. He first talks to Marvin about Rock and how, he's like, F her. And did she tell you about Scrappy? Scrappy didn't snitch. And Marvin's like, well, he did lie to me about putting up picture frames at his cousin's house in Corona. And Lou was like, oh man, like stop tripping over that. The whole point is he wasn't a snitch. But Marvin, I guess, in his mind was trying to make it better. Like he was hiding something. So maybe he did have to go because he was hiding something. So at that point, Lou, I guess, didn't get what he needed from Marvin. He decides to call Kanan. Kanan goes to the old house on the south side, and Lou is there, drunk again. And so he has a confession moment with his nephew and talks about D Wiz. And even though Kanan was aware that his own mama put the hit out on D Wiz, he wasn't aware that Lou was the one who did it. And Lou was still messed up, of course, over that. I thought he was going to mention Scrappy to him at that particular time, but he didn't, which is weird. But at that point, they both are emotional because Kanan was like, you could have sat up there and told her no when it came to D Wiz, Uncle Lou. But then at the same time, he was like, I also could have told her no when it came to her trying to make me unalive a cop. So they're both teary-eyed and they start sharing a bottle. So pretty much they're both drunk at this point. So Unique stops at Rock's new house. And I was like, how does he even know where she lived? But I guess at the end of the day, you could find anyone. But of course, as soon as she opens up the door and lets him in, I said, well, here's the freaky tales already. The first episode, they gonna make sure they know that they are about to have some freaky tales. And yes, they do. Pretty much she gave him some thanks for saving my life cooch. All right. So yeah, they have freaky tales. Now where this is gonna go, I don't know, because I don't think either one of them trust each other. This is probably gonna be like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith moment for raising Kanan. So with that, Jukebox is at the house and she opens up the box and takes out pictures and old albums. She pretty much has her own memorial of her mother at home. Meanwhile, Marvin actually goes to the church and goes to the actual memorial to pay his respects, but he ends up leaving early. And I think, in my opinion, maybe it's because he just couldn't take it, because like I said in my predictions video, I feel like he still had mad love for her. And he was also upset that she left Juke, but also left him. So maybe that's why he got up and left. But yeah, so she has her own little moment. It's a nice little scene. So they could, be able to, show that she still wants to feel connected to her mother, even with her mother being gone. But here we go with the final scene that I'm going to talk about. We see Howard calling what we assume would be Burke on the payphone. Okay, I'll tell you everything. Just meet up with me, blah, blah, blah. And like a dumbass, she meets up with him. Okay, in a very deserted area. All right, just child. But she parks, he gets into her car, and just like the rookie and vulnerable girl she is, she starts talking. Oh, I know everything. I do. I know that you sat up there and she started being your informant when she was in high school and y'all had a relationship, and that was a crime in itself, which it is. And then she was like, and then you ended up getting her pregnant. And Decon is actually Decon isn't his father, but she ran with it or whatever because Kanan being a cop kid wouldn't be in a good look. And you also had the crackhead unalive. Next thing you know, bam, Howard ends up unaliving Burke in her own car. Okay. Now, of course, I have to keep reminding myself this is the early 90s, so forensics wasn't that great. I suppose he was able to get everything done with that one little handkerchief to wipe off the hammer, wipe off his face, and wipe off the door handle. All right. He was able, I think it was only one handkerchief he used to do all of that. If I'm not mistaken, y'all let me know. But I could have sworn I only saw one hanky do all of that. All right. So he also, before he gets out the car, he ends up finding out that Burke had a hammer on her and she was recording him. So he takes all of that, gets out the car, wipes everything down, and ends up getting his car and driving off. And it is the most eerie scene at the end because we see her in the car and her eyes are open, which to me can be symbolic to who else knew she was there. I really don't think Burke decided to go there without letting someone know she was meeting up with Howard. So was this the end of the situation? Nah, I don't think so. I am shocked though that they did this to her in the first episode. I would have liked to see more of a downward spiral from her, and the fact that because she was suspended or even maybe gets fired, she had nothing to lose at that point. And we could see more of, her investigation. But no, they decided to do it this way. But it'll be interesting to see how this is going to play when it comes to Howard, because again, she comes from a cop family. She comes from a cop family. Her father is a known cop. So this is going to be interesting. But with that being said, what do I give this episode? It was solid. It was solid. So I would say I would give it a B. I would give it a B. It wasn't an A for me. I would give it a B. But let me know what you guys think about this episode. What did you think about all the scenes coming back? Did you guys feel like it was a good episode? What are your predictions for the next episode in this season? So please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you on my next video. Toodles.